Let's look at some inbuilt object methods in JavaScript. So I have an object here, I've defined its keys and some values, species, breeds, and even a method. So first, let's look at the object.keys, which returns an array of all the keys in the object given. So I'm going to go ahead and log the keys of the object we defined, which we called animal. And when we run this in the console, we can see that we get an array that returns the keys in the object. How might this be useful? So for instance, I've solved problems where you needed to check if a certain property, a certain key exists in an object. Then since this is already an array, I can make this a variable. I'm just going to call it example. And I'm going to check if the certain properties included in the array, right? So let me call it breeds. And I'm going to say that if breeds exist, just console or log something. And something is logged in the console. But let's say breeds does not exist as a property in the object. If I log it, nothing should be logged. And this might not just be a way to conditionally check if you want to work with a property in an object. Next, I have the object.values method, which returns an array of the values in the object. So object.keys returns the keys and object.values returns the value. So let's go ahead and try that. So we're going to log the value by calling object.values and passing in the object that we have as an argument. And when we log that to our console, we should get an array of the values that we have, the string, the array, and even the sound, which was a method. Finally, let's look at the object.entries, which returns an array of arrays, and each array is going to contain the key value pair as strings in the array or as properties of the array. So I'm just going to go ahead and log the entries in the objects that we've been given, and when we log this to the console, we should have an array of arrays, each key value pair. So we have the species and its codes, the breeds, and everything else. Now, how might this be useful? There might be cases where you need to iterate over the key value pairs given, and you might want to run something like this. This mostly happens when you have a key and the value is an integer and you want to work with it. I've seen this particular property be useful a lot when solving data structures and algorithm. I can go ahead and log the item. So I want you to catch that right now we have it logged as an array of arrays, but once we run it again, it's no longer an array of arrays because we have each individual array that we can do something about. So I can just go ahead and just say let's say I want to log the first items of each array and I want to work with that, then that is also possible. There are numerous